Bowmanville, welcome. Okay, great. It looks like we are live on Facebook, so now I can share my screen again. Great stuff. All right, we'll give a few minutes for everyone to come into our Zoom room tonight. And we're so happy to have you here. This is, oh my goodness, how many lightning talks have we had now? This is our fifth one, which is very exciting. We've had so many different creative people throughout these months, and we're very excited tonight to have some of our entrepreneurs from EPICentre, which you'll hear about in a few minutes. All right, we've got someone from Brampton, welcome. And Paige is from Tecumseh. All right, welcome, Paige, Lisa, and Amy. Nice to have you all here. We'll give it another minute and then we'll get started, but I imagine folks will be trickling in. Hope you're all having nice weeks thus far, a bit of a shorter week for many of us. And hope it's going well, and we're grateful that you're spending your Thursday evening with us here at the Art Gallery Windsor and with EPICentre too.
We are definitely excited to be part of this, so thank you for having us.
Yes, well, we're so happy to have you here as well. Wen says, hi, great to see you. Great to not see you, but great to have you.
Hi, Wen.
All right. Oh, the other thing I'll just mention for folks is that if you want to make your chat so that everyone can see it, just make sure in the drop-down box you're putting all panelists and attendees. Because if you're just putting in all panelists, then we all get to enjoy it, but then the rest of the folks don't get to see it. So just bear that in mind. Hello. Okay. Well, I think we'll get started because it's around 7:05. So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for the May edition of Lightning Talks with Community Creators, this month featuring entrepreneurs from EPICentre at University of Windsor. My name is Abby Lee Hallett. I am the Audience Engagement Coordinator at the Art Gallery of Windsor. I have the great pleasure of hosting these Lightning Talks, and I am here with Leanne Barakat, who is the coordinator who works with EPICentre. So Leanne is going to kind of give us a little bit of an overview of what EPICentre is for those of us who may not have heard of EPICentre before. So yeah, take it away.
Okay, thank you. So good evening, everybody. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Abby Lee and the whole Art Gallery of Windsor team for inviting us to collaborate today in this special edition of the AGW Lightning Talks. I'd like to take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Leanne Barakat, Marketing Coordinator at the University of Windsor EPICentre. For those of you who may not be familiar with EPICentre, we're the entrepreneurial hub on the University of Windsor campus. We help students and recent graduates from any Canadian post-secondary institution make their entrepreneurial dreams a reality through accelerator programs, workshops, mentorships, and more. We're currently operating virtually, so definitely check out some of the exciting events we have on our website. Each of the startups you'll hear from today came to EPICentre with the drive to channel their creative energy into an entrepreneurial venture and have succeeded in turning their dreams into a reality. For me personally, I've always had a passion for the arts and watching people excel in their chosen craft, which is why when Abby Lee reached out asking if we'd like to collaborate in featuring some of our art-based startups that have come through our facility, I jumped at the opportunity. I truly believe that no dream is unachievable without the right tools, knowledge, and exceptional support systems. So if you'd like to learn more about what we do and how we can help you achieve your dreams, please email us at epicentre@uwindsor.ca. That's all from me.
Oh my goodness, I am like pumped up now after that introduction. Thank you so much, Leanne. That was wonderful. And I think that gives a really good idea of what EPICentre is and why we're so happy to have you here. So with that, I am going to go into a couple of things before we hand it over to our wonderful entrepreneurs. The first of which is the land acknowledgement from the Art Gallery of Windsor. And I realize this may not, particularly if this is not your first Art Gallery of Windsor event, you will have heard this before. Each time we listen to it though, I invite us all to really kind of listen deeply and try to take this with us both during and after the event has concluded. So while this conversation and recording is happening digitally, today I want to acknowledge that I am physically situated on Anishinaabe territory, the traditional territory of the Three Fires Confederacy of First Nations comprised of the Ojibwe, the Odawa, and the Potawatomi. Today, the Anishinaabe of the Three Fires Confederacy are represented by Walpole Island First Nation. I want to state my respect of the historical and ongoing authority of Walpole Island First Nation over its territory. All right, so the next piece before, again, I hand it over to our entrepreneurs is just going over the event flow, because this may be the first lightning talk that some of our attendees have ever been to. So this is going to give you a bit of an overview of what you're going to see today. The first thing I will mention actually before we go into the lightning talk itself is the webinar function and the closed caption function as well. So we have closed captions on in case folks would like to kind of read along as we go through. If you do not want to see the closed captions, there should be a button at the bottom of your screen where you can either change the size of the closed captions or you can turn them off entirely. The other portion of this is that this event is a webinar. So if you're an attendee, your microphone and your camera will be off, but you will be able to interact in the chat. And you can also ask questions through the Q&A at the end of the event. So keep them in your mind. All right, so now for the lightning talk. We have this wonderful order of our entrepreneurs today. So kicking it off, we're going to have Nia Thompson from Lyric Simone & Co. and Grow and Flourish. Then we're going to have Lincoln Savvy from Savvy Made, Kata Clemerson from Stitch Happens, and closing it out, we are going to have Adrian Deschamps, Shane Trowbridge, and Jordan Bonneau from Half Step Away. So each of these entrepreneurs are going to get 6 minutes to talk about their businesses, their paths, their dreams, their ambitions, all sorts of wonderful things that we're going to hear. And I will be timing them using the most high-tech technology available, my trusty iPhone, for 6 minutes. And then when the timer goes off, I will jump in and we will move to the next entrepreneur until everybody has presented. At the end, once everybody has had their chance to present, we're going to have a Q&A. So please keep your questions coming. If you'd like to even send them before we start the Q&A, you can do so using the Q&A tab at the bottom of your Zoom screens. And then last but not least, why? Why are we doing this today? Well, there are so many creative people in our community, and many of these folks, they create in all sorts of different disciplines, and we're so grateful and privileged to be in a community that has all of these creators, and we really want to put on these events to celebrate them, to learn from them, and to have this space where hopefully you all can learn a little something too. And particularly on this evening, you get to learn about a local business that maybe you already love, maybe that's why you're here, or maybe you've never heard of them before and now you're going to have another business to go to, either curbside or eventually safely in person. So that's that, and I'm so looking forward now to kind of going in the back seat, using my timer and passing it off to our first entrepreneur of the night. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we're going to pass it over to Nia Thompson and give all of the Zoom appreciation to Nia. Kicking it off is a bold feat. So yes, welcome Nia. And I'm going to spotlight your video there, Nia.
Okay.
Wonderful. And you can go ahead and share your screen. Once you're all set up, then I'll start the timer and we'll be all set.
All right. Can everybody see? Is everybody good to go?
Looks good.
All right. So I just want to thank the Art Gallery of Windsor for this opportunity. I'm super excited and to, be in this informal event where I could just express myself. I'm super excited about this. So just some background. My name is Nia Lyric Simone, and I own Lyric Simone & Co. and Grow and Flourish. So where I grew up in Southwest Detroit. I attracted to Windsor. I will always go to the riverfront in Detroit, and I would see the skyline of Windsor, and I was just in awe of the city that was just a river away. And so I decided to venture out a little more of my comfort zone, and I ended up applying to the University of Windsor. And right now I am currently a fourth year at the University of Windsor, and I'm working on my communications and business degree. Starting my businesses, I was inspired to start businesses from my family, and luckily the University of Windsor, doing a little bit of research, I was able to discover the EPICentre, which has helped me with my communication and has also helped me with my leadership skills, and they've taught me how to just the key resources of being an entrepreneur. Going into the EPIC Founders Program, I really had issues with public speaking, and they gave me a platform just to figure myself out, and so much practice, and I thank them so much for where I am today. So growing up with entrepreneurs, I like to pick these two photos out because I just love the confidence that these pictures have. But growing up, my grandparents, they owned a church in Southwest Detroit. So I was always out on the streets just helping people that were in need. My mom started an incubator on her own, helping others start their small businesses. And she had a consulting company of her own. My dad, he started his catering service called Simply Chicken, and we were always just meet new people around the area, which I loved. And my aunt, she started Detroit Girls Rock, which is located in Detroit, Michigan, and people of Detroit natives, we can go and buy apparel just to show our support for our city, which ignited the spark to soar and start my own businesses. Grow and Flourish, Lyric Simone & Co., and a little bit of fluorescent photography that I love to just dig in sometimes, I guess. So about Lyric Simone & Co. What I love about working for myself, that I'm able to create jewelry pieces that a woman can explore and just wear on her day-to-day. During the time when the pandemic started, I wanted to just take a step back and just think about what can I wear to make myself more confident and on camera, and that can speak to others. And so each season I try to come up with little pieces that would just make a woman feel good about herself and get the compliments that she needs to start her day or to make her day better. So that's Lyric Simone & Co. And Grow and Flourish. With my love for the communities that I've grown up in, I decided to start a subscription box that gives a platform for smaller businesses. I want to always support local. I've always supported local and environmentally friendly due to like the eczema, growing up with eczema. And so I decided to start a box and allow people to get a local subscription box to their door and putting money back into the community. So with Lyric Simone & Co. and Grow and Flourish, I'm able to take my love of photography and just dig right deep into what you see on this screen. I love to take my pictures. I love to just come up with creative ways to just catch a person's eye. And I think it's so important to just implement all the things that you like to do right here at your business. I think that's number one of a person getting to know you. So what does my businesses stand for? Well, they go into my values. Growing up, my parents laid the foundation of love and spirituality, and that's something that carries with me throughout. And so when it comes to my businesses, I always try to implement self-love and love for the community. I believe I always talk about self-love because it is the root of how you exist as a person. Just taking care of yourself, you are able to, I don't know, explore and be creative. And so I talk about it a lot. I know a lot of people that may know me, you guys know, like I am into soul care, self-love. And so growth and kindness. I'm always trying to make myself uncomfortable, and I'm trying to help other people grow as well. And there's one thing to be nice. You can be nice to certain people, but I think it's super important to have kindness because it's within. It's kindness is love. And so going to the love for the community, I always want to think about putting money back into the community and supporting dreams and creating new relationships. And that's what I'm about. So I just want to celebrate the people that have led me to this moment of being here today, all of the important activists back in the 60s and 70s that have created the person that I am today. And Langston Hughes is one of them. My mom always says this quote, "Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow." And you can take that with you. Thank you, guys.
Oh my goodness. What a great start. Thank you so much, Nia, for that. I wrote as you're talking a couple of things down here. Yeah. One of them, the fact that when you're a freshman that you discovered EPICentre, like you know, post-secondary is hard enough. And the fact that you went out there and discovered EPICentre in your first year, like that's pretty amazing. And also the fact that, you know, you're up here speaking with such poise, and you had that concern at the beginning of your journey with public speaking, and you know, seems like you just really took the bull by the horns and just went right towards it, and here you are. So thank you so much. It was a great way to kick off. And we're going to go, yes, go ahead. I see some questions coming in too already, which is wonderful. All right, so up next, we have Lincoln Savvy from Savvy Made. I'm going to spotlight Lincoln's video. And Lincoln, you can go ahead and share your screen once you are all set. Just let me know and we'll start up.
I think I'm all set.
Awesome. Yep, go right ahead. You're good.
Okay. Hey, everyone. My name is Lincoln Savvy, and I am the owner-operator of Savvy Made, a business where I create realistic 3D printed animal models for research, education, and display. So today I'll be talking a bit about how I got to where I am right now, what it is I actually do, and a little bit of what I'd like to do with Savvy Made in the future. So through my entire existence, I've always been a creative person with a lot of creative energy, and I like to gather skills and new ways to create things and apply those skills in new areas of my life. And I do this, I've always done this. So whether it be paper bag puppets when I was a little kid, or learning how to knit when I was 6, or the more complicated stuff that I'm doing nowadays. I've also always really liked nature and animals. So, and this is largely, it's largely shaped who I am today and what my academic background has been. So I've always liked animals. My undergraduate degrees were in biology, a Bachelor of Science in Biology and a Bachelor of Education, before I went on to do a master's degree, all at the University of Windsor. And the master's degree allowed me to go to Costa Rica, which is where I got this cool picture of this toad. In Costa Rica, I spent 1 month in 2016 and another month in 2017 to complete my field research with this field team that you see on the screen right now. And we were studying 2 species of animals, these yellow toads here, which I loved so much. They were so neat. I wish I could have one. And this bird, the Rufous-and white wren, also very neat. Wish I could have one. And when I got home from Costa Rica that summer in 2017, I had a month off to do whatever I wanted. And I discovered that 3D printers at the time were only $400 now. They're cheaper now, but at the time I was like, sold. So I dove headfirst into 3D printing. I already had a little bit of experience with digital modeling that I did in high school when I was dabbling in that. And for those of you who don't know, a 3D printer is like a tiny hot glue gun that shoots out molten plastic, but it's controlled by a computer and a couple of motors, and it builds from the bottom to the top of whatever geometry you sent from the computer with some instructions to the machine. So after I learned a little bit of the ins and outs of the 3D printer, and I was confident enough with it, I tried designing one of those yellow toads so that I could have one. And this is what I came up with. And then with a little bit of paint, I had a little bit of experience of painting from like Dungeons and Dragons type painting. I came up with this. And my professor, my supervisor for my master's degree, he's used models in the past to study the yellow toads. So I showed him this and he immediately wanted me to make him some. So I came up with these guys. I added some servo motors, some microcontrollers, and we had ourselves some little rudimentary robotoads that we could put out in the field and study how the real toads react to them in more of a controlled way than that. But that's the gist of it. My supervisor tweeted a video similar to this out onto Twitter, and at which point the media started to contact us for interviews. They wanted to know what we're doing with these crazy robotoads and what our research was focusing on. So we had interviews from Science Magazine, CBC News, and the University of Windsor's daily newspaper, and then a bunch of spin-off articles started showing up online. And at this point, people started to contact me and request that I make them their own species of their study animals, or if I could make something to teach kids, or even just that people wanted them. So I was at that point when I realized this could be a business, but I had a background in biology. I'm a scientist. I had no idea about running a business. So I went over to the fine folks at the EPICentre and I joined their EPIC Founders Program, where they taught me the basics of running a business and how to validate your business idea and test like pivoting and how to change what your business is currently doing. And it's been 3 years since I was in the EPIC Founders Program. And since then, I've dealt with customers from all of more than just these. These are all the places I could remember that I had made models for over the past 3 years, including the Toronto Zoo, which I'm pretty excited about because I still get contacted from them or contacted by them from time to time. My process has always been just on the computer, 3D printing, then painting. These fish these are 4 different invasive carp species that I made for the Invasive Species Center in Sault Ste. Marie. Their fins are printed in clear plastic, and their bodies are opaque, and that's a technique that I was pretty proud of when I first tried it. I glued them together and painted them. Wow. And then my process starts on the computer. I 3D print. This is the head of that gar that was in my profile picture at the beginning. I assemble the pieces. This gar ended up being 3 feet and its body was 3 sections. I paint, and in this case, I glued tiny little 3D printed teeth into the mouth before gluing the fins on and painting them. You can see the transparency in the fins there. And then I made a wooden stand, clear coated it, and this went to the Toronto Zoo. And they use it for their Great Lakes educational program where they teach kids about the Great Lakes. Here's some other things that I made, including a couple fish. That red-side dace at the bottom is an invasive species that was originally for Trevor Pitcher at the University of Windsor. He studies those fish. A couple other animals there, whatever. This is a really interesting one. So, might be too loud. Researchers, sorry, is there a way to go to? Hold on. Researchers at the at Salisbury University, they sent me that inflatable throat, and then asked me to make them a frog to fit it. So I came up with the frog around the spring peeper around that throat, and I added that sound in after the fact in video editing. But that's roughly what they're going to use it for, is studying the real animal, and they can control how this fake animal delivers its song, how loud the song is, how fast it sings it, and how big its throat inflates, and all those sorts of things to kind of get at why these animals are using those behaviors. And then over the years, I've slowly come up with this collection of these 3D models that I could print and paint. And since I had this collection, I started to diversify how I'm making money, and I started putting them on my website, savvymade.ca. So people can go on the website, buy the model file, 3D print it themselves with their 3D printer, and then paint it. And this has been working fairly well for me. My future goals with SavvyMade, so for right now, I'm just getting commission requests, making whatever it is that people want, sending it out to them. And then sometimes most of the time, I'll put the model file on my website to sell to people who want it there. One time for the EPICentre, I did a model painting tech class. I'd love to do more of that. We're teaching model painting. I'd like to do more selling.
Lincoln, I've got to jump in.
This is the last slide.
Oh, okay. Finish the slide. Okay, go ahead.
And currently it's just me in the basement. I would love to sometime have an actual workspace where I could do Savvy Made and have maybe a team where we make whales and bigger things or something. And that's it. Savvy Made.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I'm, as someone personally who does not build things, 3D printing, the amounts of just the potential that 3D printing has continually blown my mind. So thank you, especially showing the video of the 3D printing process was really, really cool. I also just wrote Robo Toads with the big exclamation marks. I think that's amazing. They look so lifelike in your photo and Lincoln's headshot when he sent it to me. I thought that he's holding an actual animal, and then I realized that it was one that he had created, and that just really was amazing. So, all right, a strong first and second. No, I'm saying this, but then no pressure at all, because I know that our third and fourth presenters are going to be as wonderful. So we're going to hand it over next to Kata Clemerson from Stitch Happens. I'm going to spotlight Kata's screen. There we go.
All right. I'm feeling the pressure a little.
Oh no, you're all good. And you just let me know when you're ready and you go ahead.
Yep. I'm gonna go ahead. I'll share my screen. All right, so I am Kata Clemerson, and a little bit about me. So I actually own two businesses. One is Stitch Happens that we mentioned, and the other is called Defying Gravity Activewear. So Defying Gravity is a custom activewear clothing company where I design and make all of the clothing. And I've been doing that for a little over 4 years now. And then my second business is called Stitch Happens. We're a fabric sewer and sewing studio. So even though they're two businesses, they really kind of go hand in hand. And the first business kind of inspired the second one. Stitch Happens is not just me, it's me and my mom, Catherine. So we started this business just back in the fall of 2020, and we do have an actual storefront location. We're located in the Walkerville area of Windsor. And in our studio, we offer classes when it's not COVID lockdown, but then we also offer a selection of fabrics and sewing notions to go along with basically everything you need to get starting to sew. So just some of the photos here are just my work. I started sewing when I was 6 on a sewing machine. My mom has a degree in fashion and textile design, so I kind of just grew up in the sewing room. We did a lot of community theater, and I grew up doing ballet and other types of dance, and so we were always making costumes for stuff. Fast forward years later, I went to Walkerville and did the performing arts program there. I took dance, and I again made lots of costumes there, but I had a big interest in science. So I ended up going to the University of Waterloo, and I did a Bachelor of Science in Chemistry. Proceeded to really find out that I was much more into the creative aspect, and ended up doing different types of creative things on the side until I eventually pivoted and made creative most of my work. My first business was actually a fitness studio and dance studio, and we needed costumes for a lot of our performances, and it was really hard to find them, especially in Canada and at a low price. So I started making them. As I said, I had done costumes before, but learning how to sew with all of the new high stretch, kind of technical Lululemon type active fabrics was a new challenge to itself. So my studio allowed me to kind of create my first company, Defying Gravity. And that company, we specialize in dancewear and pole wear. So with Defying Gravity, it's been very successful, and I specialize in doing a lot of clothing for people who don't fit into a normal size range. That was, again, the problem with stuff online, was that it was small or really wasn't constructed for actual movement. It might look nice when you stand there, but wasn't actually a very functional garment. So that's been kind of my niche. But of course, with the pandemic, we've all had to do those wonderful pandemic pivots. And the majority of my business with Defying Gravity came from going to competitions, showcases and stuff, a lot of travel, which was really nice. We'd be out of town like a couple of weekends a month, and that was where the majority of our business came from. Did sell a lot through the web store, but mostly in these events, and that's where we would get new customers who would then come to the web store. So with not being able to travel and not being able to attend these events, since they were the sort of thing where you might have 1,000 people at them, and those are things we haven't been able to do for quite some time, I really had to pivot, and that involved just doing more online, but it ended up leading me to starting my other business, which is the fabric store and sewing studio. So these are some of the fabrics we carry. So it's very hard in Canada to find any kind of athletic or technical fabrics. And when you do, they're often really expensive and not the best quality. So that's what we specialize in. And then we also have a focus on eco-friendly textiles. So if you know anything about the textile and fashion industry, it's that it's very wasteful. When you cut out garments, there's usually a lot of waste with the fabric and stuff, and that gets thrown out. There's also a lot of very harsh chemicals used in the manufacturing process. So we only work with suppliers that don't use those chemicals that are really going to be polluting the water systems and stuff. So we only use eco-friendly dyes and those types of things. And then also a lot of the mills for fabrics are overseas. So we only work with companies that do have ethical work agreements with their workers, so there's no sweatshop type thing happening. So that's what we focus on. And then in our classes, just teaching people how to operate sewing machines. This picture here has a regular machine in it, and then kind of in the back that's called a serger. There's one behind me here. That's what we use for a lot of the stretch fabrics. Our classes teach people all the way from beginner up to a professional level, but we're really inspired to teach people how to sew because the clothing that you make for yourself is going to last way longer than anything that you buy from any of the fast fashion stores. So really eliminating some of that wastefulness from the fashion industry, and also just inspiring people and empowering them to create their own clothing that fits them, makes them feel great. And yeah, so that's a little bit about us. Like I said, we do actually have a physical location in the Walkerville area. So when we do reopen, feel free to come say hi. The picture here on the screen is of a tote bag. That's what we teach you how to make. If you ever do a Machine 101 class with us, we teach you how to operate the machine, what type of thread, needle, all that you need, everything you need to get started. And then at the end of it, you have a tote bag. So if you'd like to learn a little bit how to sew, that's what we teach you.
Oh, thank you so much, Kata. Oh my goodness. I've also I feel like for each one, I'm just writing down so many different things here. And yeah, feel free, of course, if you're in the Windsor-Essex region, to check out this store when you can. That would be wonderful. And okay, perfect. You stopped sharing there. That's great. I wrote, one of the things I wrote down is like, wow, starting to sew when you were 6 years old, like I'm gonna have to come to you for sewing lessons at some point. That is something that I want to learn. It's wonderful that you offer that. And also just the mention of the eco-friendly textiles and real like body positive activewear. It's just such a wonderful, kind business. So thank you so much for presenting on your wonderful work.
Thank you.
Of course. And now, certainly not least though, we have 3 entrepreneurs from half step away. So we have Shane Trowbridge, Jordan Bonneau, and Adrienne Deschamps with us. So I'm going to, I'm going to spotlight all of your screens, and then you can start your screen share and just let me know when you're all set. I'm just missing one of you. Hang on. Perfect. Okay, you've all got spotlight, so you're all set. I'll start the timer and you're good to go.
Alrighty. So yeah, thank you everybody for coming out tonight. It's a great honor to be here. Thank you to the Art Gallery of Windsor. Thank you to EPICentre, Wen, Leanne, Sydney. Like, you guys are amazing for always introducing us to these opportunities. So yeah, so we're half step away. We're three guys, musicians, that thought to ourselves, hey, let's make music with as many people as we possibly can. We offer a personalized approach to music, and I'll explain what that means. So basically, we're a social enterprise corporation, and what we want to do is we want to create a full inclusion music center. Meaning, I come from a background of disability studies and psychology, so like I've worked with a lot of people with different abilities and stuff like that as a support worker throughout my life, and I'm also a musician. And then it would just kind of turn into like, you know, let's do some music, and then one day it just kind of turned into a thing. We were sitting at the river, you know, just having coffee, and we're like, you know, what if we took what we know about music and we make music with as many diverse people as we can, but like we really personalize everything we do. So, you know, if you come in and you say, I don't want to do sheet music, I just want to write death metal with like an Irish folk vibe, then we're going to figure out how to make that goal come true. So yeah, as a social enterprise corporation, you know, what we do is we really focus on creative growth and artistic development in people of all abilities. So basically, you can be of neurotypical, you can have any different level of ability. We're just going to be a big group of musicians just doing what we do. And that's pretty much the goal. The personal goals and objectives is what we design our programs around. Like I said, there's no curriculum unless you want one. But yeah, it's pretty much just all about you when you walk into our programs. So our team, it's the three of us. We've been friends since high school. We all jammed together. Me and Jordan literally like met in a grade 9 class, and then we figured out we both play guitar, and then we would bike across town to each other's houses with guitars strapped to our backs. And then you know, we met Shane in our last few years of high school, and then our bands would play the same venue and stuff like that. So we just developed this in together out of our passion in music, and we recently just hired Jacob Livingstone, who is our new music accompanist, which is we refer to teachers as accompanist. I'll have Shane explain that later. Yeah, we all part of our applied research team to like really, you know, specialize and personalize our approach to the way that we teach music to basically everyone that comes to us. Our mission is to create this full inclusion community of musicians. So like I said before, full inclusion means like, you know, just diverse abilities, right? Just making music accessible to the people that need it to be more accessible, and just welcoming everybody that we can to just have this collective community of creative individuals working together. And then we want to just basically turn everybody's creative vision into a reality, put simply. And this is one of our learners right here. And from the moment this picture was taken to now, he is absolutely striving. It's like, it just, like, he's an example of what makes it worth it. And our vision is that we want to reach as many people as possible. Like, we want this personalized approach to music to be like the new standard of music. Like, we just want to, you know, with COVID, we're like, what are we going to do? Then we thought online, you know, we can reach people in other countries that we never even thought of. Right? Doesn't just have to be Windsor. Like, we can reach as many people as we want. So that's kind of our vision, is just to, you know, get as many musicians, as many artists just on board to our full inclusion community. And that's basically what we're going to do. Our philosophy and values is that we believe that music comes from the mind, and the instrument is just kind of like your tool of preference that you decide that you want to play, because music it's not so much about this and as it is about like actually just like, you know, constructing the emotional melodies and just finding your groove and your rhythm that makes you like fully express yourself. And our approach is, if we believe, we believe that if music is more accessible to people, we'd have more musicians, right? So like, just because you might not have full use of your hands doesn't mean you can't be a musician. Like there can be other ways and other instruments created for you perhaps that could help you get this music, that you're envisioning in your head out to the world. So we really believe in, um, creating art through our community accessibility, just kind of doing things that fit around the person. Yeah, so I'll let Shane take it away with our products and services and what we do.
All right, hey everybody, I'm Shane Trowbridge. I am the director of music of the business. And yeah, so what we do right now, we're doing online services, trying to pivot with COVID. And that's how we're kind of striving right now. We're actually officially going to launch June 1st. So if anybody is interested in anything, any lessons at all, then please visit our website and we'll be happy to do that. But we are definitely in the future going to be doing in-person lessons. That's definitely the main mission. And then obviously having instrument products and services and doing a more accessible instruments building and stuff like that, where we're actually going to create these instruments that help people that have different abilities with their bodies and stuff like that. So what we do is we have a lot of different packages, and it can go up to a single lesson every week, or you can pay up to 40 lessons, and we can go from there and then have this whole almost a year worth of music training and everything like that. And it's important to know that what we use our language for is that we are called music accompanists. We don't like to use words and of power. We're not telling you what to do. We're just telling you to that we're just in the same level as you, and we're learning with you as well as you're learning as well. So we can probably pass it on to Jordan right now because we only have a little bit of time left.
So hi, I'm Jordan, and I'm the instrument technician, and I handle all of the repairs. But the most important part is I handle the customizations for the business. So with the customizations, I've been able to create some unique things with guitars, with some wood burning, the Lynchburg figures, and filling in with epoxy as well, just to provide an instrument that can be customized and unique to you. And that's what I want to be able to provide to people.
Thank you so much. I was just gonna jump in and you all made it. So thank you so much for that. Oh my goodness, I just bring your questions, folks, because we've seen some amazing businesses today, but just having accessible instruments and accessible music, like we don't always have that. And like I have a little bit of a background in music, and it can be so like, okay, you've got to play this way and it's got to sound like this, and this is just taking that and completely turning it on its head, and just making it friendly and making it really enjoyable. So that is really, really lovely. And I see in the chat there's some folks who are like, great initiative. This is Alexi, I believe. Yes, Alexi is like, great, what a great initiative. So,
Alexi.
Alexi, my apologies. Yes. All right. So Adrian, if you wouldn't mind just stop sharing your screen. No, that's okay. Folks, you can take down all of those different websites and channels, because I'm sure you're going to want to look at these businesses afterward. All right. I'm just going through and removing the spotlights now, which will hopefully give folks time to ask some questions. There we go. Okay, we're all set. So we've just seen these 4 amazing presentations, and now it is time for the Q&A. So if you do have questions, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A section at the bottom of the screen. Just a bit easier to find than the chat. Sometimes if you go in the chat, the messages fly off the screen and I can't see them. So yes, please feel free to go ahead and ask some questions. There is one already which I will read out from Michaela. That is for Nia. And Michaela's asking if Grow and Flourish has a website of its own.
Yeah, thank you, Michaela, for your question. So I currently have a landing page. It's gfbox.co. And there you can see the sample of the box and my partner and a little bit about our mission statement as well. So yeah, check it out. And then you can also put your email in to get more updates on our launch.
Perfect. Oh, there it is. I'm going to drop it in the chat for Michaela and also for anybody else that wants to check it out. Yeah, so while folks are thinking of questions, oh, perfect. Lan has a question. I was gonna say I have a couple myself, but I'll ask for Lan. Lan's asking, how's COVID forced, the magical word of 2020 and 2021, how has COVID forced you to pivot your business model? And this is for everyone. Ooh.
I'll always talk first. I just want to give everyone a chance. So basically for Half Step Away, it was hilarious because we had just started physically teaching, and then out of nowhere, like you heard about COVID, and then you're like, is it coming to Windsor? Probably not. And next thing we know, it's like, okay, lockdown, right? So what we did, and it was funny because we never actually thought about online music lessons before, because we were like, well, no, why would you want to do that, right? But it's incredible. We tried it and we did it successfully, and our learners did incredible, and they've been progressing, and it's like we maintained the relationships, we made progress with everybody. We have learners expressing themselves online, and online honestly kind of expanded our business in a way that we didn't necessarily expect. And basically COVID just kind of brought its own set of growth to us that we didn't really think would happen at all. So silver linings, right?
Okay, yeah, so for Grow and Flourish, one thing that has really pivoted our business model was shipping. I think it was, we're working with like USPS and just all these other mailing services. They're really just slow right now, and a lot of people are just demanding their packages from like Amazon and everything. So we've just been really trying to figure out like how to get our boxes to us. I think usually they're like saying like 3 weeks or 4 weeks, but it's like 8 to 10 weeks. So we just have to be a little patient over here. But that's one thing for Lyrics Simone & Co. It's been surprisingly easy. I just have to get into the rhythm. Well, I've had to get in the rhythm of like content creating at home, and I'm usually like trying to be downtown somewhere or with my friends. So I'm just trying to, I guess, think of creative ways that I can sell my product here at home. So it's been challenging, but I've made it work.
Awesome. Thank you for those answers. I'm going to move on to some questions because the Q&A is getting larger here. So there's a couple questions from Paige, and Paige, feel free to write in the chat if I'm not interpreting this correctly, but I think Paige is checking in, and it sounds kind of like that Half Step Away will have in-person lessons when it's safe to do so. As the question was, will there be in-person lessons? Can a small pinch in my cord be fixed? And then, hi, Adrian, Jordan, and Shane. So I imagine that one's for you.
Hi, Paige. Thank you for coming out. So, yes, we will be coming back in person when we launch on June 7th. We're with you guys. And a small pinch in the cord. Jordan, what do you think?
It just depends on where the pinch is.
Yeah, so we'll take a look at it just like we always do,
Yeah, it can be fixed.
We'll take care of it.
Amazing. Thank you for your question, Paige. We've got a couple here next for Lincoln. So let's see. Nathan is asking, oh, several questions. Okay, so Nathan's asking, what aspect to building your business did you find the most challenging? Was it the learning curve with the 3D printing and painting unique models? Or was it the business side, learning the ins and outs of running a business? Good question.
For me, I think it was more so the business side. So because I was already doing the 3D printing before I considered making a business out of it. And I think that the hardest part for me was figuring out how much my time is worth, or how much, because the amount that I value my time is, as far as like the monetary value, isn't very high. But then when I consider, like, if I was to hire somebody else to do the same thing, they would need to be paid. So I have to at least give myself a fair amount of money for the work that I'm doing. And then considering how much I would pay money for the something that I make when I could just make it myself, it was like a weird thing to figure out. As a do-it-yourselfer, I would much rather spend my time than my money to have a model made. But other people aren't that way. They want to pay somebody to make the model. So it was like figuring out the balance of what people are willing to pay for what I'm doing and how much I should get paid to make these things.
That's really interesting, Lincoln, about how I feel like this is probably true for many of us across disciplines, of how, like, I'd pay somebody else to do the work that, like, but if I were to pay myself to do the work, like, would I feel like I am, being, or should I be paid kind of the same wage? That was really interesting that you brought that up, because that's not initially where my mind went, but I think it's a really great point. And I mean, me looking at these models, I'm like, oh, 100%, these are absolutely worth all, what, like, all of the cash that you put on them, or all of the all of the things. I'm just really amazed by your models. So thank you for answering that question. We have another one from Greg and Dorothy for Lincoln, who are checking in. I think you might be getting some business potentially, as they're asking if you do commissions. And it looks like they're asking about like if they have a photograph. So they're asking, do you do 3D taxidermy based on a photo of a particular fish caught, for example? So more so like a photograph. Yeah, over to you.
Hey, Greg and Dorothy. Those are my godparents.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So I haven't done anything like that yet, but that's basically how I do all of my models. So they're not based off of an individual so much, so that they're based off of what Google Images comes up with when I search for whatever species it is that I'm supposed to be making. But if somebody, because I know that's how some taxidermy is done nowadays, instead of actually taxidermying a fish, a model maker will make a model, like a mold, and cast out the fish and then paint it based off of images that the original fish was. I haven't done it yet, but I could definitely do that. Yes. Like if I had the good reference photos for what I needed it to look like and measurements for how big it needed to be, that's pretty much what I do with everything. But I'm limited by what reference photos I can actually find.
All right, thank you. And thank you, Greg and Dorothy, for asking that question too. We do have a little bit of time left. So I had a question, and it doesn't look like we have any others in the Q&A at the moment. So I'll keep an eye on that. But I have a question that's open, so anybody can feel free to jump in. So I imagine you had to do many a pitch, and as somebody who is an avid watcher of Dragon's Den for quite some time, it's like, oh my goodness, people see so many pitches that are all have so much merit. I wonder, like, what really gets people's heads turning. So for you, what do you find, like, if you're making a pitch for your business, like, what do you find really turns heads or has people say, like, oh, I'm interested?
I have a good story if you want.
We love stories.
Okay, so when we went to pitch at EPICentre, we had like never actually talked about our idea to anybody. So it was kind of like let's practice talking about it, see how this works. And then we were fortunate enough to win one of the spots in the Social Innovators program. But the funny story is, I'm sorry, Shane, when we were practicing the night before, Shane was so nervous just thinking about presenting in front of people, reading his slide. Like he couldn't read his slides. Like he physically couldn't do it. And then we made a joke. He's like, I'll just sit there and play guitar. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, do that. So what happened was we went and pitched, and Shane sat there and played jazz when I talked everybody's ear off. And it worked out really well. And it, like, everybody, that was what they commented on. They're like, I love how you brought a guitar. Like, one of you guys sat down and played. And I'm like, I'm not going to tell them why that happened, but so that's my story.
That's amazing. Because I would think that would be something that was not regularly shown in like a pitch meeting of sorts, but that really just shows who you are. And that's wonderful that you're able to bring the authenticity of your team to the table. So that's a very cool story. Thank you for sharing. Does anyone else have any thoughts before we're getting close to the time of wrapping up? Yeah, feel free to go ahead.
For me, I'm lucky that my business is very visual anyway. So like the models themselves turn heads, and I can, like, even in my presentation, I use a lot of pictures of them because they're so cool. Like the reason I started making models is because I thought they were cool. So then, and that's the reason why I turned it into a business, is other people saw them and then wanted them. So for me, it's been easy as far as pitching what I do.
Yes, that's true, that I feel like the pieces that you make are so unique and interesting in and of themselves, and perhaps not something that is frequently seen either. So thinking it's like, I'm an old pro, it's easy. I love it. Yeah, Nia and Kata, if you want to jump in too.
I think that just having something that you can actually connect to people about is the most important. Like, we all have a great product and service and whatever, but having something that actually connects to people. So for us, a lot of the time it's, especially during the pandemic, it's taking up a new hobby, finding something that you can kind of do on your own. Like, that resonates with a lot of people, and not being able to find clothing that fits you also resonates with people. So figuring out whatever it is for your particular business that's really going to actually speak to people, as opposed to just trying to sell them. I think that's where you find success.
I just think for me, just like pitching, I had to pitch last year, and it was my first time, and I didn't really have much to say because first time I didn't really know how to go about pitching to anyone, but I just wanted to make sure that I got across that I was passionate about what I was talking about, and then I cared for my community. I grew up, and my mom was giving food to people under the viaducts, and we would give out blankets, and I just wanted to show that the love for wherever I go is there, like the people that I care about is there. So I just tried to make that just to show people, like, okay, like, this girl knows like what she wants and what she's going for. And yeah, I just tried to like show the love. So yeah.
I love that. That is really wonderful, as I think if it's important to you, then it'll become important to others who are listening in. All right. Well, just before we end off, we just had one more question where Paige is like wanting to get in on those lessons. So Half Step Away group, how often do you plan to be offering lessons?
Oh yeah, I mean, we're gonna be offering lessons all the time, all week. It's actually funny. Paige is actually one of our learners. She actually is with us right now, and yeah, so she's like mostly asking questions about like how we are with them. So it's just really interesting to see her here, and I'm just, yeah, it's great to see her here, and yeah.
And she is awesome and has been making awesome progress, and it's really good to have you here, Paige. We will talk to you Wednesday about all the details that you need to know.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you, Paige, for being here. That's really nice. Really nice to have you. So, oh my goodness, another lightning talk has come to an end. Like lightning, if I am to make this pun, don't worry, I will see myself out soon. But thank you so much for all the attendees for being here, for our panelists as well, for sharing your businesses and your creativity. And yes, please feel free to check them out. If you would like as well, I'm just going to drop my, drop my email there in the chat if you had any questions or anything like that about this these panelists that you didn't get a chance to get to this evening. You can send me an email. I will have a couple end slides, but Lan, I just want to turn to you in case you have any last words as well from EPICentre.
No, I just wanted to say everybody did such a phenomenal job, which I knew you would because you guys are all amazing. So that's why you're here. So thank you so much for everybody that joined us today. And once again, if anybody in the audience is like super excited to start your own venture after seeing all these amazing businesses, reach out to EPICentre@uwindsor.ca or follow us on social media. I'm the one that's doing the social media, so I'll message you back. And yeah, we're excited to see what comes of all these amazing ideas.
Awesome. Same here. I've definitely followed, I'm currently following EPICentre, so I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for updates. So folks, if you liked this event and you're wanting more things, I'm going to share my screen quickly here. We've got a few events at the Art Gallery of Windsor coming up this week and with the in the weeks to come as well. So on the 29th, we have if we have any artists in the room, we have Carfax info session and who talk about time and artistic labor as part of Mayworks. And then we're also having our Mindful Mondays program, which is bi-weekly on Mondays at noon. So if you want a bit of calm and groundedness to your day, you can join us for that. We have our Taking Care program. We have an artist talk coming up on June 3rd, the very last one in the series. If you want to check that out, I will see you there. But if this is where we part, just want to say again, a huge thank you for spending your Thursday evening with us. We so appreciate it. And we look forward to the next lightning talk and to interacting with these wonderful businesses. So feel free, to check them out. I'll share links to, I'll check in with Lan and we can coordinate to share some links with the participants so that they can keep up with all of these businesses. So yes, with that, I just want to say thank you again so much for being here tonight and have a wonderful rest of your evening and rest of your week. Stay well, everyone. Take care.
Thank you, Abby Lee. Good job, everyone.
Bye.